Welcome to the pattern for the Bye Bye Paper Napkin. I made this pattern so you can, as you use your paper napkins, you don't have to renew them and you can just shift them and use these reusable ones. I'm just going to show you this old one which has been washed quite a lot and it has had some wear and tear. But one of the things I want to show you is that the edge is actually pretty straight, and that's very nice because a lot of crochet stitches does not have that same feature. So you see, after washing it and using it, it's going to change a bit. The pattern here has, on top you have all the important information. You have the stitches and the abbreviations. Up here it states what materials you need. Here you have a QR code so you can get to this video, and the codes for what to search for on YouTube. This is the full diagram of the napkin. You start here at A, work 35 chains, and then you start working the rows of the pattern. Each row has a different color to make it a little easier for you to read it. And that is basically a very fast-paced walkthrough what the pattern is. I'm just going to leave a link in the comments where you can get the pattern for free. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel and get more free patterns and guides on how to do them here on YouTube. So get a skein of cotton. The pattern has been adjusted so it suits one skein. But again, make a row more, make a row less. It's going to give you a nice, big, generous napkin to set your table with. You need a hook, size 5.5 millimeters and 4.5 millimeters. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to do the chains. I always start out by wrapping the yarn around my fingers. Then I kind of let it go again. This is just habit. You can do it in 1,000 ways and do whatever suits you. Get a little loop here. And for doing the chains, you need the bigger size hook because we're going to work 2 stitches into those chains, and we are also going to, they are the starting chains, so it's a big advantage that they're nice and big. So this is what it looks like when you start. So basically I do a yarn under because the yarn is under the hook to do my chains. You grab the yarn, pull it through the hook like this. So now it looks like this. We're going to zoom in and get a good close look. Yarn under and pull it through. Yarn under and pull it through. So this is what the chains look like. I just always give them a small, I hold them here like almost just below the neck of the hook, so that I have nice control of them, and I make them nice and flat so that they don't twist. Chains kind of tend to do that if you just do them sort of freehand. And I am very generous and I'm working these chains rather loosely. Do not work them too tight because we're going to need all the kind of width that they can give us later on. So basically you work 35 of these chains. So now we have 35 stitches and we're ready to make the next row. I just added this little stitch marker here in stitch number 35 to make it clear which stitch is stitch number 35. So here we are, just finished that stitch number 35. Added the stitch marker, and now I'm going to go to the smaller hook size. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and these chains are the chains we use to turn our work with. That's going to make a little more sense once we've worked our first row, but I'm going to show you how we do that. The stitch marker is right there, and we want to crochet into that back bump. Let's just zoom in all the way and see what the camera can do. So I set the stitch mark in the stitch like this. This is sort of the front, or this is the front of the stitch. This is the back side of the stitch. And on the back side you have these small bumps. And those are the bumps we crochet into. Now the double crochet two together, we do the first half of the double crochet with a yarn over into the bump, into stitch number 35, go through that bump, pull the yarn through, so you have 3 stitches on your hook, and pull through 2. So now your work looks like this. We do that in the next back bump too. Yarn over, go into that back bump, pull the yarn through, and we just pull the yarn through these 2 stitches too. So now we've done 2 halves of the double crochet, and we're going to stitch those 2 halves together into 1 stitch like this. We just pull through all 3 of them. So I'm just going to use the stitch marker to kind of stretch it into shape so you can see it nice and clearly what the stitch looks like. Let's just repeat that. Yarn over, you go into the same stitch that you just worked and do the first half of the first double crochet, so to speak. So it looks like this. Yarn over again, you go into the next back side bump. This is the front, this is the back side bump, and you do it like that. You pull through 2 stitches, those 2 that we just did, and then it looks like this. Then you have those 2 halves, and we're going to crochet all of that together. So now it looks like this. Just going to do a stitch more. The first half, the second half, and then crochet all of them together. So now your work looks like this. And you can see here the bottom chains, they look absolutely like the top of the stitch, and that's why we do it like this. So you just keep working the entire row. When you get to the end of the row, the next chapter or mark in this guide is going to show you how to turn your work and how to work the next row. So now I'm here at the end of the second row, and I want to finish that row, so I'm just going to show you how to do that. Into that back bump again, pull through 2. We have the last back bump here, and that one we're only going to work that once. So I'm just going to, let's have a look at it before I do it. Looks like this is the V, so you kind of see the back bump right there. You go into that, then you pull through. So have those 4 stitches, pull through 2 of them. So you have those 2 halves on the hook, and you pull through all 3, and you finish the row. It looks like this. So before we continue, just going to show you, it might curl like this. Don't worry about it. It just, either you give it a bit of a stretch right now, just pull it. That's going to actually pull it into shape. You can just make it a little longer. And when you work the next rows and add to the napkin, the curl is going to completely disappear. So now we are ready to start the second row. You chain 3 and turn your work around. So now you're working from the back side. You work the stitch in top of the V's. Yarn over, under the V, pull through 2. That was the first half. Yarn over, go through the V, pull through 2. So you have those 2 halves, and they have each been worked in a stitch. Pull through all 3. Next stitch. Work through the same stitch, the first half. Work through the next stitch, the second half, and join them. So that's basically how you work that stitch. First half, second half in the next stitch. Just keep working till you reach the end of the row. And now I'm going to show you, after this, I'm going to show you how to change color. At the end of the row, you work the last double crochet together by going into that stitch. Work the first half of the double crochet, then you work the next, and I do that in the top of this chain. You might have to pull it a little and twist it a little to get this chain to come out right, but I do that in top of that chain. Pull through and pull through 2, and then your work looks like this. Now if you want to continue in the same color, you just keep working and do those 3 chains and turn your work. But I'm just going to show you the color change, and I actually change the yarn just before I finish the last stitch of the row. And I do that because it gives me a nice and sharp color change. I'm just going to tie the new yarn. You can untie this knot and weave in the end very nicely, but this is just the way old me do it. So the important thing is that you work the yarn through the top of those stitches in the new color. So we have the 2 tails here, and you can just weave them in as you go. Do 3 chains like this. Turn your work, yarn over, go in through the top of that stitch again. Go through 2, yarn over, and go to the next stitch, pull through, and pull through 2. So now your work looks like this, and you just pull through all 3 of them. I'm just going to do a stitch more so you can kind of see the color change. So it looks like this. I will just show you in the napkin what it looks like. This is the good old worn one. This is what the color change looks like. So if you want to change color in the middle of a row and get a vertical color change through the napkin, this is how I would do it. You just yarn over and you do the first half, yarn over again, and you do the second half. So we have these 2 halves of the double crochet ready, and we have 3 stitches on our hook, and this is where I would do the color change. So I'm just going to change back to the color we just worked with to show you how to do that. Just make sure it's stretched out. And then pull through all three, just like we did last time. Now, if you want to pick up the color again, just keep it here on the front. When you go back, if you want that vertical, but if you're changing color entirely, you just weave in the ends. The first half. The second half. Pull through all three. And you have a nice, sharp color change. I'm just going to leave a link in the comments where you can get the pattern for free. I hope you enjoy making the Bye Bye Paper Napkin. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel and get more free patterns and guides on how to do them here on YouTube. Bye bye for now.